Okay, so I want to talk about how having the right tool matters. So, in this Toyota Corolla 2009 with a 1.8 liter engine, those are the most narrow spark plug wells I've ever seen. And so the spark plugs come in various sizes. This particular vehicle, they are 9/16. And so I have here a 9/16 spark plug socket, but it actually does not fit down inside the well because of this metal ring thing that holds the swivel on. So, have to get a different 9/16 spark plug socket in order to fit down in the tube. So, that's annoying. I actually had to go buy this specifically to get the spark plugs out of this vehicle. And when it comes to the subject of putting in and removing spark plugs, you want to make sure that you use the correct type of plug that your vehicle calls for. This is a Toyota, it calls for NGKs. So don't put auto lights or AC Delcos in this because you can get a lot of problems down the line if you do that. Also, when you're putting the spark plugs in, most sockets are going to either be magnetic like this one so the plug doesn't fall out, or they're going to have a rubber gripper on the inside, and you need to make sure that the plug is pushed into that so that you don't just drop it into the spark plug well, because if you do, then you can actually bend this ground strap a little bit, reduce the spark plug gap, and end up with misfires. So make sure that you don't drop the spark plug down in there. Put an extension in the back, lower it down slowly. If you don't have a magnetic socket, and if the socket that you do have is old and missing the rubber insert, then you can just use a magnet on a stick, attach it to the spark plug, slowly lower it in, turn the magnet until you get one or two threads in, then pull the magnet off, put the socket in behind it. Another thing that you can and probably should do in most cases is to apply an extremely thin little dab, not much at all, of copper anti-seize, which is going to help the spark plug come out easier next time, and it's also going to help provide a better connection between the threads in the plug and the cylinder head, because these plugs are grounded through the threads to the engine. Another thing to avoid is over tightening the spark plugs, but at the same time you want to tighten them enough, because if they're too loose, obviously they can be ejected out of the engine. I've seen that happen before. These do have actual torque specs. You can look them up, torque to spec if you want to, but I don't really ever do that because I've been doing this so long I don't really need to. Just get them, to where they're like barely snug, and then turn slightly past that. That's generally all you need to get a spark plug in. If you over torque them, you risk damaging the plug and also the threads down in the cylinder head. So be careful not to do that when you're putting in and removing spark plugs. And one final thing is that whenever you're replacing spark plugs or taking plugs out for whatever reason and then putting them back in when you're diagnosing or whatever it is you're doing, make sure you check the spark plug gap and adjust it if you need to. Look up the factory spec, get a spark plug gapping tool, and make sure that it's correct, because if the gap is too wide or too narrow, you can have a lot of misfires, and you really don't want that. So that's about it for this. Be careful with your spark plugs. Don't drop them in there and collapse the ground strap and narrow the gap. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you guys learned something from this and that you enjoy it. And I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.